This meeting of the Hartford Selectboard to order on Thursday, March 3rd at 6 p.m. So first of all, I want to make sure that everyone that's here that's either been re-elected or elected has taken the oath. Have you done that? Okay, great. Okay, good. That's good. Okay, now we'll have the pledge of allegiance. Would anyone like to volunteer to lead us this evening? Okay, sorry, who said that? I said it. Okay, Mary, go ahead.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, Mary. Welcome. Thank you to our, or congratulations to our new members and to our returning members. That's terrific.
Hey, thanks.
So our business this evening is to reorganize the board positions. So I think there's one thing I want to say first, which is on this list of liaison assignments. There's, I'm not sure if there's the town, I don't think the town charter committee is on there. So that's one that we need to add. And just so you know, Lynn Bohai and Simon Dennis have submitted applications to us as the select board. And then FX Flynn has submitted one as well. And we had a meeting last week and decided that FX could be the joint person, Lynn and Simon could be the select board people. So we potentially could be the select board liaisons to the town charter committee.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the school board has two individuals that have submitted applications to them, Michelle Boleski and I forget the other individual, unfortunately, it's not coming to me right off the top of my head. Gabrielle Luke, thank you. Yes. So that, and then we just need to have a select board member and a school board member, and then both boards sort of vote, I think, on that full slate, and then it moves forward, is my understanding.
Okay, so they would still submit applications for approved, like
They
would
have submitted. We already have their applications.
Which is the select board appoint them or not, I guess is what I'm asking.
It's sort of a little gray to me. So we sort of appoint them, and then I think the school board sort of seconds it, and we do the same to them. Is that correct, Tracy? I'm not quite sure how the
Not
dual
totally.
stuff.
So the charge says that two members are appointed by the select board. I believe it's one from the school board and two members from the school board and one jointly.
Yeah.
Like other committees where you all have joint people, you would make the decisions about the two people appointed just from the select board, make a decision about the person jointly, and then the next time the school board meets, they will do similarly for their two people and their joint. And then if that all works out and that moves forward, that's the charter committee. So on the 22nd, people have been submitting applications like as they've found interest in this. So on the 22nd, you'll see applications from two people as select board candidates.
Okay.
And then one person is a joint candidate. That person is going to need to be affirmed by both boards. Similar to when we've done things with HCORE, because they have some joint folks in there. But you do need to appoint one of you to serve on the charter committee. And that's not just as a liaison, that's voting full membership, nose to the grindstone.
Great, thank you for clarifying that.
It's a little confusing.
Okay. Down. So in your packet tonight, we have the list of the liaisons, which is here, which sometimes has happened at this meeting, and sometimes it's sort of been distributed at this meeting. Then we come back later once people have a chance to process and think about it, shuffle things around, and then we do it again. So that can happen either way. So this, the way this will work tonight is we will individually entertain motions for the board positions, and first will be chair. So once that is done, then whoever is the chair will then from this point on continue to run this meeting. So any questions on anything? Okay, so that's where we are. So we will, if someone is ready to make a motion to entertain for the chair, we will entertain that. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
I move that the select board, do I nominate or just move that, is it a nomination or just a motion?
I don't know if it really matters.
I move that the select board appoint Mike Hoyt as the chair of the select board.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'd second that.
Second from Ally. Okay, any questions or comments?
Including from Mike.
Well, thank you. I'm very, very honored to be nominated for this. I look forward to serving in the role of chair. I know it's a big responsibility, and as Dan surely knows. But I intend to try and keep our meetings, orderly, make sure everyone has a chance to speak, and reach out to each of you individually, and hope that you'll do the same to me to let me know your thoughts and concerns. and items that interest you that you'd like to bring up. So I would be honored. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Any other questions or comments?
Well, I would just like, and even though we haven't voted yet, but I do want to just express my appreciation, Dan, for your service as chair. I know it is extremely difficult sometimes, and just it is a big responsibility, and I really appreciate the care you've given to it, even in the most challenging times.
Thank you, Kim. All right, any other comments or questions? All right, hearing none, we'll call the question. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'll abstain.
I'll abstain. Okay, so for the record, we have 6 in favor and Mike has abstained. So congratulations, Mike. I will turn this meeting over to you.
Thank you, Dan. Now we'll get ready to do this. Thank you so much. All right, so we've taken care of that initial business with the chair. So I do believe that we have a vice chair position that would be next. So willing to entertain a motion, Ally?
Sure. I feel like, Dan, maybe you can't fully escape, because I would love to move that Dan Fraser be vice chair of select board.
I would second that.
Discussion, comments, Dan?
I'm happy to continue in that role if you would like me to do so.
Yes. I mean, yes, I think it will serve well.
Okay. Well, we've got a motion. Do we have a second?
Yep.
We second it. Okay. Then all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No, looks like
I will
it's
abstain.
unanimous with Dan abstaining. And then I think the final position is the clerk. Is that correct?
I would make a motion to have Kim continue as clerk if she's willing.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Mary seconds. Any discussion? Kim, do you want to-
I would ask that if it's possible to consider a little more involvement in the agenda setting process as the executive board, great. If that's not appropriate, also fine, but if it is, I would be interested in that as part of the role, but if it's.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
it's the duty, it's the responsibility of all the select board members to weigh in for the actual agenda. If you read the duties and responsibilities,
Yeah.
it's all of our responsibility, not just the executive board. So in theory, a request should go out to the members of the board for what they'd like to see be on the agenda, and then it can come back to the chair, the vice chair, and the town manager to put on the agenda topics that they've received. So it's not just an executive board decision, and there is no true executive board for the select board. We are the executive board of the town. You're just chairman and vice chair and clerk.
Sure, that makes perfect sense. And I've always felt like if I did have topics that were that I would like to see on a future agenda, have expressed that, and it's been fairly responsive. I guess my point is I've been feeling very kind of more just like reactionary to like whatever comes before. Like I haven't, maybe I just need to be more proactive and not be in the agenda setting meetings, but I guess that's my own responsibility to sort of be more proactive about that. So I'm fine either way.
Yeah, I have no problem with that whatsoever, but I would like to see, one thing I would like to see going forward with this board is that if we could get a heads up before the agenda gets posted in the agenda center, a little, if we could have like a days ahead of time, just so we get an idea of what's happening. I noticed that a lot of times in the past, I feel like I've been blindsided by things that are showing up on the agenda without my knowledge. And it's just nice to have a little bit of foresight about what's coming. So if we could get the agenda put out a little bit earlier in the week, it would be much better off for us, I think, as select board members. Because if a person in the community calls us or asks us about something that's on the agenda and we have no knowledge whatsoever, we have to dig in the agenda and start looking ourselves, and I don't think that's quite fair to us or the members of the community as well, to be able to have us sitting there, trying to thumb through the agenda we haven't seen to provide guidance to them. So that's why it'd be nice to have it come out ahead of time, a little bit more ahead of time to us versus the citizenry.
Ally?
Is that what I think we did get? At least we didn't get the full attachments, but we did get, I think today in our inbox, at least just the front page of the agenda from Tracy for
Yeah.
the March 8th or March 9th, whenever that is meeting,
Yeah.
which I think is extremely helpful. So
Yeah.
thank you. And then just the other thing I wonder, and I don't know if this is procedurally, and if I'm going off topic, please pause me, but because I think the vice chair and chair and Tracy would set the agendas, I think, on like the Wednesday prior to the next week. And so maybe there's a way that we can kind of align the process if there are suggestions from the full board about what to go on the agenda. It feels like that those would have to get in by a certain time. Not that they would necessarily all make it to the agenda, but that would be sort of like the day to think about how to get our thoughts in there. So.
And I know we have a motion on the table. I just want to. That it was, I mean, because recently someone asked a question about an agenda item before it was posted on the website and before we received the email on Friday. And Tracy and Lana clarified it's because Lana has to submit for the listserv posting. Lana has to submit it on Thursday in order for it to be on Friday's listserv. And so that's, I think, why we've recently been getting just the without attachments version on Thursday, which I do find super helpful, and then look forward to the.
Yeah, I find it very helpful too. And to the extent we can sort of plan the schedule and make sure that, you know, if we can get that out to people and everyone has an opportunity to see what's coming up and certainly make any, you know, recommendations going forward for agenda items. I think that
We
great.
can definitely do the front sheet. The thing that
Yeah.
gets sticky
Just,
internally is the consent agenda,
Yeah,
because
sure.
that payment manifest is literally getting run over to my office, like very last minute as they're processing it. So we've played around with that, and internally it would be difficult to get the consent agenda to all of you in that manner. We would actually have to
Sure.
back up and significantly change the finances internal calendar to
Yeah.
make that work. So that's the difficulty there, but the front page is definitely easier. And I was under the impression that the process was a little bit different, and thanks to Kim's question, we got clarity on that, but the front page is definitely easy enough once it's finalized.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think there's support for that for sure. Okay. So we've got a motion and a second on the table. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks like unanimous with an abstention. Okay, I believe that's everything. So we've got the new positions, and of course, welcome to the new and returning board members. So the next agenda item is the liaison assignment. We'd like to take this tonight. People feel planning?
Can I speak on this for a minute first?
Sure.
So one of the things that I thought long and hard about this liaison assignments. I sort of came in the middle, as did you, Mr. Chairman, and got sort of like, I don't want to say leftovers, but you know, what hadn't been picked already. And I
Yeah.
think that one of the things that we as select board members and leaders of the town should really consider is taking on committees that perhaps either we're not comfortable with or that we're not as educated with as we could be. And I think it's a growth opportunity for us as select board members to take on those positions. And it's also a growth opportunity for the people that are in the committees as well to learn from different perspectives. So it's in the past, it's always been people taking on committees that they really felt compelled to and they really had a draw towards. And that's great that you really had a draw towards that. But part of what we should be doing as a board is trying to further, I want to say, educate ourselves and also provide more value to the town of Hartford. And the way that we can provide more value and growth opportunities for ourselves is to take on these committees that may challenge us a little bit, or the things that we don't understand, so we can grow in that opportunity. So I would like everybody to think about that as we go into this committee liaison. So.
Well, thank you, Lenny. Kim?
I agree with that to some extent, but of course, just we have the opportunity to attend any of these meetings at any time. I mean, they are open to the public. So if we, like, I really appreciate, also always happy to negotiate whatever committees to liaison with. I'm drawn to the planning commission. Those are like, I feel like it's something that is, I do have a genuine interest in, and my role is not participating in that committee. It's just reporting back to the board the activities that are happening. So, it's different. There are some committees that select board members are voting members of. But in any case, I mean, I think that if what we're interested in is expanding our horizons and interest in other areas, that opportunity is there regardless of the liaison position, in my opinion.
Thanks. Dan?
I just want to say too that some people do have a real knowledge about certain things, and it's important for them, I think, to continue on in that capacity if they've served on that board. Sort of following up from your year. And just in my time on the board, I've served on several committees as things have gotten shuffled around, which is fine with me. So I'm happy sort of doing sort of what I've continuing to do what I've done, but also swapping up the committees as happened in the past. So I think that sort of happens naturally. You sometimes keep some and you sometimes shuffle depending upon who's here and what happens. So the
Right.
follow-up is okay.
Yeah, there are, well, everyone's on a number of committees. So, to the extent that, you can balance one you're really interested in with, and also maybe take a chance and learn something new about a different area of government or something out of your comfort zone. I think there's plenty of room to do that, given the number of assignments. Do we want to hash this out right now and do the new assignments? Does that make sense?
I had a question.
Sure.
This is for Lanny. I was just wondering, I actually love what you said about the spirit of basically trying to challenge ourselves and learn. And I hear, especially what Dan's point is about having expertise and wanting to provide that. And then Kim, I hear what you're saying about the committees being open and available. My concern with that one is just the marginal effort it might take to attend additional committee meetings. And so my question for you, Lanny, specifically is, are there any committees or commissions that sort of speak to you personally that you think would be interesting or challenging? I'm sort of curious about that.
You know what I would really love to get on? I would love to get on the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion. I would really welcome the opportunity to be a liaison to that.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, if people are making their preferences clear, I think we can probably just go ahead and start putting them on. If that
Well, I think what we can do
Makes
is
sense.
put names down.
provisionally.
Who is interested in, I also have interest in H4A,
Okay.
I've been a previous member, have stepped back when people of color have been on the board and wanted to participate, which I would certainly defer as well. But I have experience with that committee, have attended many of the committee meetings when not being a member, have participated in a couple of the work groups around policy and the community safety review work. So it's kind of it's a group that I have participated in an official capacity and then as a community member to some extent as well. So I would say we can both be interested, and we might not be the only ones interested in that committee.
Ellie?
I wonder, Mike, if we can, I am remembering that last year we did have a discussion and then I think kind of made a more formal step in the next meeting. And I might be in favor of that just because I know when I was an incoming new board member, even just getting the rundown of, oh, this is what this committee is about, because all of the committee information is online, but it's not always super clear and easy to get a hold of that information beforehand. And so even if we just have an opportunity for all of us to just kind of get a refresher on, or if there are any questions about specifically what each of these committees work on, and then we can percolate a little bit and then maybe formally decide at the next meeting, if that would make sense to folks.
I'm all right with that. Lanny?
The other thing I think it would be really nice to have is a lot of these committees, I think, do great work within the town of Hartford. But I would like to take a step back and examine what the original charge was for these committees. Because I've been told that some of the committees have drifted away from what the original charge was. So I think it'd be really worthwhile for us to address the original charge of these committees. So I'm not sure if that's something that staff could pull up for us or where that would come from. But I think that we need to have the true intentions of the committee. And that's where I see some of the role as the liaison to the committees. Our responsibility is to make sure that every committee that you see on here is a subcommittee of the Hartford Selectboard. And with that being said, we could either continue them or not continue them as a select board. So it's in our best interest for the town of Hartford to make sure that the charge of the committee is being followed correctly. That's why I think it's really worthwhile for us to get a charge and review those charges.
Okay, good.
I think just about all of them, like I did as a volunteer project, reach out to each chair of each committee and commission to get their current membership and contact information and charge. And I think if you go into the committees and commissions section of the town website, they should all be there. And so I think at any point, you can go and look at the charges. And if you see that there are some that might need, I don't personally recommend that we need to go through each and every one, but if you see some that are maybe need some updating or might be outdated or just.
No, I mean as a liaison, not the board, as the liaison to the committees. That's where I believe one of the roles as a select board member that is a liaison to the committee should be to make sure that they're following the original charge of the committees. And that's therefore we as the select board and the members that are liaisons to those committees should have that original charge and make sure that charge is being adhered to and that they're not drifting off into places that, are not what their charge is. So I've heard that some committees have drifted somewhat, and it's important for us to make sure that, these committees are, I guess, for lack of a better term, held to task, so to speak.
Just one
Yep,
quick
sure,
process,
absolutely.
and then I know I'm sorry to be monopolizing this, but David, I did not bring my computer tonight, so if you see any public hands raised up, would you let us know?
Yeah, that also was told that there's no public comment.
There's no public comment.
Okay, so then, never mind. I did not.
Okay, Mary, yes.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to address Ally, and I was wondering if your idea about offering us the possibility to spend a little time looking over the committees also included some way of our maybe saying, I'd be interested in this, this, and this, and then we would come together and see who's interested and then be able to make probably an easier decision that way.
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yep, Dan.
I'm happy to keep my Energy Commission and Tree Board. Traditionally, I think the Upper Valley Leadership Committee is something that's attended by the chair. So
Okay,
I'm happy to drop that if you're interested in doing that.
yep.
And I would
will.
be fine with
take
adding the Aquatic Center Committee as well, if people don't have an interest in that.
Okay, so we've got you for the Energy Commission, the Aquatic Center Oversight Committee. I would switch with you for the Upper Valley Leadership Committee, because that's the chair's role. And what was the other one you were on
The
there?
tree board.
The tree board.
But I'm
okay.
happy to switch it. I'm happy continuing those, but if someone has a dying desire to serve on some of those, I'm happy to switch it up.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it may be useful if we just get a general sense of interest from people, if there are any in particular. There may be ones where we have multiple interests, and there may be ones where no one is very interested, but someone will just have to probably end up doing it. So if people have ones they're interested, or if they want to review their current ones and say whether they'd be interested in continuing on it, I'm happy to do that. And I'm happy to start with Mr. Collins.
Yeah, I'd be happy to step away from sister cities, let
Okay.
somebody else.
So sister
Speak on
cities could have a replacement,
Yeah, could be.
and our sister city is,
Salem, France.
okay, perfect. So if anyone would be interested in that, that would be great. Are there any new ones or open ones, Lanny, that you'd be interested in?
Well, as I said, I'd like to do the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion. I'd like to be
Okay.
part of that one. I would also be willing to take on perhaps the zoning board
Okay,
adjustment.
Yep.
But I'm not sure if that would conflict. That would probably conflict.
Hmm,
Yeah,
It would with H Corey, yeah,
okay,
I
so,
believe. It depends on which Wednesday.
yeah, the problem is these are a lot of them. Okay, how about Parks and Recreation Committee, Commission?
Parks and Rec,
Yeah.
and that's in lieu of the zoning?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, zoning wouldn't work because it's,
because of the schedule.
yeah, and then third Wednesday. Yeah, depending on how it worked out, I could only. yeah,
Okay.
I would introduce that.
Sounds good. Go down, rocket. Are there any that jump out at you or you might be interested in,
Yeah.
knowing this isn't final yet?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I want to say is I actually really support Lanny being on the H Corey. Because I know that Kim and Ally would both be amazing at this, of course. But I think that for me personally, I was honestly surprised that that was the committee that you wanted to be on.
I'd like to challenge
No
myself.
offense.
I'd
I
like
was
to challenge
surprised,
myself
yeah.
for that.
Oh, and I just think that's so amazing. So I think like in the spirit of that, that's, I don't mean any offense, but I was just, wow, I think that's great. So I'm very fully supportive of that.
Open-minded.
I know, wow, how about it? And for myself, Dan, I would be happy to be on the transit board. Dan, if it's okay, I'm interested in the aquatic center. Really, maybe historic preservation. But I would also say that if I were to assign to whatever the need is, then that's fine. And I don't personally feel the need to wait to a second meeting to settle into that. I would be happy to learn on the go and dive in,
Okay.
if that saves us time.
So it looks like you would be interested, I mean, almost anything if we had to assign you, but
Yeah.
it looks like the Advanced Transit Board, right? Historic preservation, and the
Aquatic
last
center.
one was
Aquatic.
aquatics. Okay. That's good. As long as, I feel like if we can fill up some names in these spaces, we should be all right. Yes, Kim.
Yeah, well, I think both the Advanced Transit and the Aquatic Center are not very, I mean, Dan is on the board of the Aquatic Center. Like there weren't regular schedule, like Joe was on it because obviously he's the PD of the Aquatic Center.
Right.
But it isn't like a regularly scheduled meeting. I think that honestly, there was very
The
little
board member,
interaction.
yeah, select board members didn't attend the aquatic center board, I can tell you, because I'm on that board, so.
I think Dennis actually was the one that was on the board, on the liaison to the
So should I,
aquatic center last time. Dennis was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I mean, he never attended any meetings. I mean.
Yeah, they didn't
no board
have
members.
any, really.
I'd be happy to pick up sister cities, Lanny's not interested in that. That's nice.
We'll put you down with that one. Yeah, it may be that if it's like for the aquatic center or the Advanced Transit Board, if they don't really meet, you may.
I see. I thought they just hadn't set their meeting days.
No, they meet, but just.
But it's your
the
regular.
Select board person, like the aquatic center has never had a select board member that officially comes to that
Gotcha.
meeting. I think.
To
it
their
did-
board meetings.
To their board.
To their
meetings, right,
board.
Right.
Gotcha.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ally, you have,
And Mr. Chair, I would be very happy to, a year flies by. And so in terms of having relationships with committees, I would love to continue on the committees that I'm liaising for.
okay.
I'm, certainly will go where I'm needed, but that would be my preference in this moment.
Okay, just stick with the ones that you're on. Okay. Dan?
I already spoke, thank you.
That's right. Mary?
I'd be interested in serving the Conservation Commission
Okay.
and it's hard to figure out. I feel like I could almost fit in somewhere.
How about school board meeting?
You might like the
Oh,
school board as well, Mary.
Not to plant anything.
I know, I've done a lot of schools.
fair.
That's why I
Fair.
I
thought,
will say
well,
the-
maybe Lanny's idea was really
The
good.
school board it meets fairly often and I'm currently on it. So I may be asking someone to take that up in my stead, depending, but we don't have to put anyone down there right this second. So Mary,
So that,
Conservation
and maybe the
Commission,
town charter.
maybe the town, sure.
I would be also willing to take on town charter. I
You'd be
think
interested in the town charter
I
as
would
well?
be very much so. I didn't know we were discussing that one yet, but
Okay.
And I also was possibly interested in the Parks and Rec.
The Parks and Rec, okay. So we got multiple interests in some of these. Kim, we'll just skip over me for the moment.
Where's that HRLF? Is that on here? Oh, yeah, it is, okay. I would love to keep planning commission,
Okay.
and I am interested in H Corey. And I think I can manage because, unless if anyone else were interested in the Hartford Revolving Loan Fund or the Design Review Committee, they meet less frequently. They're more of the Revolving Loan Fund is only once per quarter typically, unless they have a lot more activity. So it's not a heavy lift. If anyone else were interested, I'd be happy to offer it up. Design Review Committee is also sort of based on applications and very related to the planning commission. But so same thing, I'd be happy to keep it or give it up, but I think my first two choices would be planning commission and Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion.
Okay. That's good. So I've got the school board, and I will try to probably talk someone into taking that, but I've also got the climate advisory committee and the CAST, the climate action steering team. So and so that's the climate advisory committee is sort of looking over its charter, whether it's really met its charge. It hasn't had enough attendees for a quorum for a while, so that one may be up in the air, or CAST may take like a greater role going forward. So I think those are sort of up in the air. Certainly, if someone I'm happy to stay on those. And that's fine with me. I mean, if someone has a real interest to want to get into questions of the climate and the climate action plan, certainly they can do that, and I'd be happy to move that, but I'm willing to keep my name on there for now. I'm willing to keep it on the select board for now. I think we've got a couple.
Select board?
I'm sorry, school board. Select board also, the school board.
Optional, yeah.
And it looks like we've got some folks who would be set on these. I don't know if we can do like a preliminary, fill up some of the liaison positions where it looks like we have one person who's interested, and we can sort of move from there. And so we did mention the ones where I don't see any, where we don't have two members in there. The Advanced Transit Board, so Rocket. So I think we could pencil that in if that's okay. Conservation Commission for Mary. It looks like design review, Kim, you would still be interested,
Unless anyone else has
unless
interest
someone
in that.
else. No, not really. All right, so I think we can keep Kim there. Energy Commission, Dan. Ally, the ad hoc committee on emergency shelter, even though we know that may be transitioning into something else, and there is an end date on it. So
Yeah.
just to keep that in mind, we can keep you there. The business revolving loan, I think Kim was all right staying on that unless someone
Anyone else
wants it.
want it? Nope, I'm happy to stay.
No, okay. And then for H Corey, we've got Lanny and Kim, so we'll sort of wait and see, and you guys can discuss that and
Tell you what,
and see where we go.
I'd be willing to have Kim do that, but I still really want the charter committee. I think I really am geared up for that. I served on in the past, and I really think I would fit well with that charter
With
committee.
the charter committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we feel like, Kim, you'd like to stay on H Corey, right?
Well, I'm not
Sure.
currently.
Oh, you're not on it? Oh, that's right.
Joe was on that.
Oh, right.
Joe and Ally.
So maybe we can do Kim for that. And Lanny, you would be okay not doing that, but you'd really like to be on the charter committee?
Yes.
Okay. And charter committee is one select board member?
Yes.
So, right,
Yes.
okay. Lanny, the Hartford Community Coalition, are you still good?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry should we ask
Yep.
Mary if Mary's comfortable?
Oh, yeah. Mary
Because Mary
wanted
expressed-
to put her hand
Oh, I'm
right
sorry,
there.
for which one?
Town charter.
Town
Town
charter.
charter.
I was gonna go through the rest first. I
Okay,
mean,
that's
unless you
Oh,
have a thought on it right now, maybe.
I just, it's something I wanted to try. I also know the majority of the people on that, but I will go wherever I need to go.
Okay, well, we can maybe finish this. I think we're sort of nailing down some of the positions, and then we can get to that one.
Yeah, Mary, I might want to suggest, we don't know who's going to be on that committee yet. Nobody's been chosen by the select board to be on that committee, so you really don't know who's going to be on there yet. So it's not a fruitful response, really.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ally, you had your hand up?
Oh, I was just, and it seems like maybe things are already getting resolved, but, and I know I don't think we did it last year, and I'm not sure if there's any like concern or issue around this, but in an instance where there's a committee there's only one spot and two select board members are interested. I remember, I think I asked this last year where I asked, do the committee members weigh in on who, would want to be their liaison? And so maybe in the case of when more than one person is interested, putting it out also to the committee to see if they have, a preference. I don't know if that's something we would want to consider, but, because I do think the relationships with the select board members and the committee members they're really important, and long lasting. And so if those committee members have a preference, that might be an opportunity for them to weigh into.
I would say let's just go through the list and then see where we have sort of multiple members and see if we can sort of work it out there. But yeah, I do agree with you, Elliot. Could, getting comment.
And we might completely actually it works itself out, but if there
Yeah.
is sort of that moment, we can maybe, yeah.
Great. Okay, so Hartford Tree Board is Dan, still good with that. Historic Preservation Commission, Rocket, you expressed some interest in that one. Is that good?
Yes.
Parks and Rec, so we've got Lanny and Mary thinking about that one. And we also, can just sort of leave that as it is for now to be worked out. We're making progress going through the rest. Planning Commission, Kim, you were all right staying on that, I think.
Like anyone else have
Yep.
desire?
And that's it. Yeah, if anyone else has a desire, I'm sure people are willing to sort of trade them. Resilient Hartford, Ally. I will keep myself as school board for present meeting at least, just so, unless,
Be your alternate, so like. if you
That's
can't
true.
Attend, let me know, and if I
Okay.
can, I will.
anyone like to be a first alternate to the school board?
I'd be second alternate. if
You'd
you
be
need me to.
second
I mean,
alternate?
I did school board for
Yeah,
a year or two.
I
and It's
understand.
a lot of time.
It
So
is.
I
It
don't,
is.
I could fill in, but I don't want to commit to it totally.
Gotcha. Okay. We have an opening for a second alternate. Maybe people think about that one, or a first alternate if they're interested. Sister Cities, Rocket looks like he would like that. Zoning, we don't have anyone interesting in the zoning board.
Yeah, I said I'd take it.
Oh, you take that one, Lanny?
Yeah.
Okay. So zoning board, we got Lanny. Upper Valley Leadership Committee, that's Tracy and me, it looks like. And so that kind of brings us last to the town charter. So looks like we've got a good number kind of locked down here. I think the questions now are Parks and Rec, the town charter committee. And I think that looks like it right now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What did we end up deciding on the Aquatic Center Oversight Committee?
Well, that's the what, they seem to question like they're not there very often. And Dan is on the board, I believe.
I'm more than happy to defer to Dan.
To defer to
Yeah.
Dan, okay. So let's,
I don't care. It's
let's-
fine.
yeah.
Either way.
let's pencil Dan in for that one. And I'm just trying to look and see.
I have that you all still have pending, Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion, Parks and Rec. The school board feels up in the air a little bit, and things start next to that, and the charter committee.
Yeah, definitely charter and Parks and Rec, because Lanny and Mary have both mentioned interest in that. H Corey, it looks like Kim and Ally would be interested in doing that. Lanny was looking for some other
Yeah,
committees.
I would love to do it, but
Yeah, oh, sure, of course.
I'm willing to give it up if the committee would prefer to have Kim, I'm going to defer to the committee. I just think that I would be personally challenged, and I like to be challenged.
Yes, so of course. Rocket, yes?
I have to speak again in support of Lanny for this, not because I think Kim and Ally would do a hardcore job. I actually think you'd do an excellent job. It's actually about the select board in this town at large. I'll just tell you straight up. So I was called a racial slur at the polls on Tuesday, but I will say that it was not said in ill intent. It was said out of really actually pure-hearted ignorance. And I think that there is a serious dissonance of perspective, a disagree, like where people who are of a certain population, and frankly, I will say Lanny probably represents that population the most.
Wait a
Hold on, of the
You're
board.
pigeonholing me
Yeah, no,
here.
you can disagree
I
with me in
don't
a second.
appreciate you pigeonholing.
No, I apologize, but I'm just saying of the board, like, we should just be honest. What I'm saying is that with respect, I have seen a lot of my conservative rural friends who shy away from reflexively from anything that has to do with diversity or equity, inclusion, any of these buzzwords. And I think that's a really big problem because obviously I think they feel, speaking specifically of my personal friends, not just in Hartford, but beyond. And I think the best thing that we could do is to really Lanny is asking for that position and expressing interest. And I think to empower that and to support that as an alternate perspective and as a growing experience, I think would be a really powerful statement for the select board to make with respect to the community, not just about Lanny, but for anybody that might be interested but afraid to dip their toe in the pool for fear of being judged or making a mistake. So that's my support.
Okay, thank you, Rohit. Kim?
Thanks. Totally appreciate that perspective. A couple little history on back when it was still called the Hartford Committee on Inequality. The original constitution of that committee included some members of the community that did not have any sort of experience and education in any DEI training or any, like, they were coming to learn. And the committee members that had more experience felt that basically their job was not to educate the members of their own community. They wanted, like, when they accept an application from a community member to be a voting member on the H4A committee, their expectation is that there is some experience and knowledge of, having just some educational experience around the racial equity. And so while I think it's super valuable for any member of the community or any member of the select board to participate, like if you want an educational experience, then you can come to the meetings, you can go to workshops, you can, learn more about racial equity or inequity in our culture. But I don't think being a voting member of the Hartford Committee on Racial Equity and Inclusion should in itself be a learning experience. And that has been an explicit experience of that committee. So that's my
Yeah,
point
so
to that.
that's history that precedes. Oh, sorry.
Lanny?
Yeah, frankly, I find that quite disrespectful, Kim, because it's disrespectful to me to assume that I have no knowledge or understanding of equity and inclusion whatsoever. I find that to be very disrespectful that you're taking that tone, because I have something that I can add to this committee. All right, for you to say those things to me is very hurtful, because that's to say that I have no caring for this community whatsoever. And that is farther from the truth than it could be. So I'm very disturbed by you saying those things. Thank you.
Kim, go ahead.
Okay, I don't think I directly,
Yes, you did.
but in any case, you and I attended a workshop together and you said it was the first one that you had done. And so that was my takeaway from the level of education on that topic.
So, Lanny, I actually don't, I'm going to stand with Kim here. I don't think that Kim was directing that statement to you specifically. And, but I do understand why you would feel frustrated by that, certainly. And I think, Kim, so I hear what you're saying about wanting to have competent people on the board. Me being a freshly elected member of this board, this town really took a leap of faith because I have no previous select board experience. I have no local government experience. And my hope is that the belief of the voters who supported me is that I am willing to listen and to give my best, and that I'm willing to also be educated by all of you who are more senior and more experienced than myself. I know, especially when it comes to things like diversity and equity, this is like one of the hottest button issues that we all face, right? And I think that the thing is, it's like, man, this conversation's so painful, isn't it? It's weird. Like, I feel so emotional and I'm not even going to this seat. I know how much, we've sat, and I know how much love and compassion you're coming from. And I know how much passion that both of you serving on this share. So I'm not in any way trying to disrespect that, because I really honor that. And frankly, I appreciate that. I think too, and it's weird because I'm not trying to make Lanny the symbol of everyone that I know that's from the rural conservative area, but I think the more that we have people, when we say diversity or we say alternate perspectives, the more that we can sit and lean towards the middle with each other, I think the better off we'll all be. So, ultimately, it's, I don't want to project, but I just imagine, frankly, being in a position where I'm not you or you and saying, or me, and then saying, oh, I'm interested in this position, and being sort of an unlikely candidate for that would take sort of an act of courage. So that for me is something that am really inspired by as well, from Lanny's perspective, as I also honor both of you guys, your commitment to this. So.
Okay, thank you, Rocket. So Mary, looking at yours, it sounds like if you might be interested in Parks and Rec, and then Lanny, maybe you'd be interested in Town Charter.
That's fine.
Is that okay with both of you?
I'll accept that.
That's fine.
Okay, so Mary gets Parks and Rec, Lanny's on the Town Charter. And I think that means we're pretty close. Is that right, Tracy?
Are you okay with climate still?
I'm okay with climate still. The climate one is definitely one where it's like,
Thank you.
this committee is, it needs to sort of find its way forward, I think, and what its next sort of iteration is or plan for the climate. So I think right now, they're still not even getting their quorums. But that's definitely one, if someone was really, if someone had one they were, less jazzed about and really wanted to take on climate action stuff, I'd be happy to swap with that. But if we want to leave it on there for right now, that's perfectly fine with me, given sort of the uncertain nature of the committee. And then the school board, I'll have to ask one of you to be like the first alternate, or have switched with me and I'd be first alternate. But I think we're pretty close.
Question,
Oh, yes, Ally.
apologies if I missed it. Did we, and Lanny, I'm sorry if you already said you're still okay with being on Hartford Community Coalition. I didn't remember us talking about that,
Yes,
so,
I'll be on there still.
okay, sorry, just checking on that.
Yeah, hi Mary.
And Mike, I was gonna say, if you need another alternate
Yep.
for school board, I'm
Pencil you
willing
in.
to do that.
Okay, yeah, I've been pretty good about it. I'm just not sure yet
Yeah.
with the duties of the chair, what it'll look like, but I'll certainly be committed to keep going forward on that. And so with that, I think we're there. Let me just read them all off, make sure we're all on the same page. Advanced Transit Board, that would be Rocket. Aquatics Center Oversight Committee is Dan. I'm on the Climate Advisory Committee. Mary is Conservation Commission. Kim has Design Review Committee. Dan on the Energy Commission. Ally is on the Hartford Ad Hoc Committee on Emergency Shelter. And of course, we will see how that evolves. Kim for the Hartford Business Revolving Loan. Kim and Ally on HCORI. Lanny for Hartford Community Coalition. Hartford Tree Board is Dan. Historic Preservation Commission is Rocket. Parks and Rec is Mary. Planning Commission is Kim. Resilient Hartford is Ally. School Board is me with Mary as a first alternate. Kim is a second alternate. Sister Cities is Rocket. Zoning Board is Lanny. And the Upper Valley Leadership Committee is Tracy. And then myself as the chair being on that. And Town Charter Committee is Lanny.
So it was decided that Kim is going to do the Hartford Commission on Racial Equity and Inclusion.
It sounded like earlier, Lanny, you were willing to, you had mentioned you were willing to let Kim be on that if you were on the Town Charter Committee. Is that not right?
Okay.
Want to arm wrestle?
Can we try, Lanny? I mean, both your perspectives are so aligned and similar in spirit. Can we just give them a chance? And then if it doesn't work, we just pull them off?
I don't know if we can.
No,
I think we need to have.
You gotta have
No,
a say.
I'm not gonna go against that.
Okay,
Oh,
right.
it's already been stated. I
all
already
right,
know,
all right.
I know where I stand now, so it's
I
firm to
think
see
we
where
have a
we're going from
good
here.
mix of committees. Lanny, you did express some real interest in being on the Town Charter. I think you'd be great on that too. So I think we have a tentative or even formalized list of liaisons. Any comment right now about the selections? I don't know that there's if what the ability going forward is to sort of swap liaisons. I assume that it's fairly informal in case someone really has one they want to be on.
Yeah, it's definitely come up during my service that, someone has talked about their schedule changing or commitments being too much or whatever, and it has been revisited certainly and throughout. And Lanny, I would really, I appreciate your acquiescing to this request. And honestly, like, it is a heavy lift for me. This is too many meetings, but I feel so invested in that committee. And also I hope you will attend whenever you can. And then maybe we'll come a point if it is like too much for me and you really feel confident that that's a good committee for you, we can totally discuss it. Does that sound reasonable?
It's been stated that we're gonna go this, so let's go with that.
Well, I mean, you still have, we can keep it open if you're.
Let's move the meeting, sir.
Pardon me?
Move the meeting. We're all set. We can adjourn.
All right, it sounds like everyone's okay with the assignments. We will move forward. We've got our liaisons there. So that just brings us to the close of the meeting. I'm willing to entertain a motion. Dan?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Okay,
I second.
Mary seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Rocket is opposed. Okay, so that is 6-1 in favor of adjournment.
No, we're right, all in favor, the motion passes.